everyone, Niklsun here, and welcome to Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. I'm your host, and on this show, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we'll be going over all of the day's movie news, as well as going over what it means for the production in general, such as casting decisions, trailer announcements, director announcements, things like that. So, without any further ado, let's get started with today's Hot Topics. The first story I want to talk about today is the powers that be have recently announced 23 Jump Street. Now, I'm pretty sure that everybody out there, at least the fans of the movie series already this far, have pretty much surmised that this was a foregone conclusion, that we were going to be getting a 23 Jump Street. Well, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the guys who directed the first two, they did an interview shortly, I think it was actually right around the time that 22 Jump Street came out, and said they currently don't have any real desire to return to the franchise. The only reason that they came back for the sequel was because they found a new way of still being able to poke fun at what they were trying to do. 21 Jump Street was basically a way for them to poke fun at remakes, the slew of remakes and stuff like that, and how they're really unnecessary, how overblown action movies are, and all this kind of stuff. It was a really great commentary on the current status of Hollywood. Well, with the sequel, they wound up coming up with a great way to poke fun at sequels. So not just remakes, but sequels. And it was borderline the exact same movie. I mean, you could watch both of them and they have the very same story beats, but it was such an entertaining film. It was so smart and funny. And again, it was another satire. So when they came out and talked about 23 Jump Street, the prospect of returning to the franchise again, they said that really they don't have any desire to do it at that point. They had just finished doing two movies at the same time, which that in itself is a feat. I mean, I don't know how the hell they were able to do that. One of them was animation, so I mean, it wasn't as though they were going from one movie filming and then going straight to another one. They weren't doing that. So recently, it just came out that they are moving forward with the 23 Jump Street. Rodney Rothman, the writer of 22 Jump Street, is actually on board to write this new film. He was only one of the writers on 22 Jump Street. I believe Lord and Miller were also writers on there as well. They are currently on board as producers. There's no word yet on whether or not they are going to direct, but I mean, if they're able to come up with a great story, like one of the theories would be, because they've already done remakes and then they did sequels, why not how the third movie in a trilogy is always usually the weakest? They could really do something with that. There's lots of ideas, and I believe I've even talked about that before on the show as to where they could go. I doubt we're not going to get 23 Jump Street Medical School. We're not going to get foreign exchange students. We're not going to get Semester at Sea. I would love for them to do 21 Jump Street. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, shame on you, because that means you have not seen 22 Jump Street. But the end credits of that movie, it's not a credit scene, it's literally the actual end credits. They go through all of the sequels that could potentially be from these guys, all the way to, I think it's 42 or 43 Jump Street. And I think 21 Jump Street is the final one, and that's them in space. But they go through everything. You know, they do, yeah, like I said, foreign exchange students. They do Semester at Sea. What are some of the other ones that they do? I think they did animal school, or like veterinary school. They do culinary school. I think they do karate school. I think that was one of them as well. Like, they literally go through any idea that they could have. We're not going to be getting those movies. I'm almost guaranteeing that. That was just a joke. I would love it. Don't get me wrong. I would love for the next movie to just be like 5-minute shorts on each sequel. I think that would be a blast. Or if they even did that on like funnyordie.com, I think that would be great as well. But yeah, I'm very excited for this because the first two were such good surprises. They were smart. They were really funny. The charisma between the two leads, between Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum, I don't think anyone saw that coming. So yeah, I'm definitely on board for a 23 Jump Street. And like I said before, there's no current release date. There's no current director attached, although I'm pretty sure that Lord and Miller will eventually join on, although they didn't do that with the Lego Movie 2. They are just producing that movie. They're not directing it. So it all depends. They may not come back. And if they don't, I don't know if it's going to work. I think one of the reasons that it really did work was their comedic sensibilities. Those guys so far have been on a roll. I mean, they did Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, 21 Jump Street, Lego Movie, and 22 Jump Street. All four of those movies are excellent. So they're never the type of people to jump into a franchise or to jump into a project just for the money. They even said that in an interview. They said, we're not going to do it for the money. We already have the money that we want, or the money that they would need to live. They're not going to do it if somebody offers them $20 million. Actually, if somebody offered them $20 million, I'm pretty sure they would consider doing it. But there would have to be a lot of contingencies with that. But yeah, if we get more information about this, then I will definitely update you guys on here. But as it stands right now, the movie is just in development. They are working on the script. With the success of 22 Jump Street, I could definitely see them trying to fast track this for a 2016 release, although 2016 is already becoming pretty packed. As far as I'm aware, there aren't too many R-rated comedies that are set to be released, which is good counter-programming for whatever is coming out on those weekends. So we could potentially see this in the summer of 2016. If Lord and Miller do sign on, they could say, bump it to 17 because we're going to need some time to work on it. That may be the case, but if we get more information on this project, I will definitely update you guys on here. With this next topic, we now have a full-fledged view of the new Batmobile in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now, this is not an official still from the studio, which means it's not high res. It is a lower resolution shot, so it is pixelated, it's a little blurry, but you can really get a sense of the scope and scale of this machine. When they first revealed what it looked like, I said it looked a little small. I thought it almost looked a little bit like a dune buggy. And you really do get that dune buggy kind of sense from these pictures, as you can see here. But one thing that I got from it, it's a lot larger than I thought it was going to be. It is a two-seater. You really can't make it out, but you can see from the guy sitting in the picture that there is a seat next to him, so he can have two people in there. A lot of people thought because of the size it was only going to be a one-seater. But this is a full-blown combination of Nolan's Tumbler and Burton's Batmobile, mixed in with a little bit of the Arkham Batmobile for flavor. The new Arkham, what's it called? Arkham Knight. If anybody's seen the trailer for that game, it comes out next summer, but the Batmobile in that game looks almost identical to this one. It's a little bit more armored in the game and a little bit more animated. Who knows? Maybe with the final version of this, we're going to see a lot more CGI added to it to make it maybe the plates move very similar to how they did on the Tumbler. But yeah, I'm very happy with this. This looks badass. This thing looks crazy. I mean, the only thing that I don't like about it, and again, this is out of context because we haven't seen it moving. We don't know exactly how it operates, what the purpose of a lot of these things are. But the one thing that I am just, it just isn't vibing with me right, is the way the canopy opens. Because this is the first time we've had a split canopy that opens vertical. So, I mean, it looks as though it opens up like bat wings. And I get that they want to have the wings still there. I mean, in the older Batmobiles, you always had those fins at the back, which were supposed to be like the bat wings. So I can understand it, but they open up frontwards. I don't know, it just looks weird when it's opened up. Again, it'll probably look unbelievably cool when we see it in motion, when we see the proper filters and CGI added on and the proper place setting. But as it stands right now, I don't care too much for the canopy. It's not like we're going to see the Batmobile with the canopy open a lot. We are going to be seeing that close down. When we do see the Batmobile, it hopefully will be involved in a lot of really cool action sequences, because that's one of the reasons why people love the Batmobile. It's not just a cool looking car. It's got all the gadgets, got all the weapons. It's basically a badass version of James Bond's car that would never be able to drive during the day without at least being pulled over. So yeah, I mean, this whole thing looks really, really cool. Again, we're about a year and a half away now from this movie. It kind of sucks because originally it was supposed to be coming out in July of 2015, which meant that we were only like 9-10 months away from it. But now we're a year and a half away. But still, I mean, it's a lot closer than every time I keep thinking about this property, I keep thinking, okay, we're 2 years out, we're 2.5 years out. No, we're a year and a half away. We're a year and a half away from seeing the largest, most anticipated showdown in cinema history. This movie is going to make so much money. If this movie comes out with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 9, this movie is probably going to shatter the weekend box office. With this film, people don't care about ratings. They don't care about critics. It's the exact same thing with Transformers. The problem is that Transformers knows this, and they go ahead and they just make a bad movie because they know that they're going to make money. They don't put any work into it. This movie looks like they've put a lot of work into it, not just with the practical effects, because we're seeing a lot of practical shooting, which is really good. I'm really glad that we're seeing this kind of stuff. That it's not just all green screen. That's the one thing that's worrying me about everything we've seen so far about Fantastic Four. And mind you, these are not official photos from Fantastic Four. They are taken from somebody's cell phone. They are taken, there's only 2 that have been released, like 2 sequences of photos, but they're all green screen. There is nothing live action in those sets outside of the people. And that worries me because it to me means that they didn't take enough time to try to build anything, to try to actually instill anything. They had a deadline they had to meet, and they just had to get there. With Batman v Superman, they've had to push it to say, listen, we need more time, or this, or that, or the other thing, but they've pushed it. They've given themselves the time that they need, not only to set up a right path and a right plan that they have, but also to work out any kinks or anything like that. I mean, remember, they pushed it back, and then they had announced Chris Terrio back on as a writer to do updates on the script. And then he was announced to write Justice League. So he definitely tied in that movie to their new expanding universe. And I think they were given enough time to really get a lot of the kinks out. Mind you, this movie could still be bad. It could still be... I don't think it's going to be non-enjoyable, but it may be like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where there's nothing there except for a little bit of nostalgia and a couple of cool little sequences. But outside of that, there's nothing. I don't think we're going to get that. I think Warner Brothers has too many eggs in this basket to really be able to take that big of a risk. They're putting everything they can into this movie, because this movie, even though they said that about Man of Steel, that it was going to launch their new cinematic universe, Batman v Superman is the official kickoff point, because this is the movie that's going to be introducing a lot more characters. It's going to be setting the tone and feel about the future movies. I mean, Man of Steel already kind of did that, but this movie is going to introduce us to this larger world. And yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about this. I'm getting more and more excited the more stuff I see from it, because they're doing this right. They are, every month or every 2 months, they're dropping something. It doesn't need to be significant. It just needs to be a little something. You know, at Comic-Con, we got that little teaser trailer, which looked badass, but it really didn't do anything outside of, we know that he's using the armored suit as well as his regular bat suit, so it just confirmed that. We already knew they were going to fight. But yeah, I mean, it did that. And then they dropped the Wonder Woman image to show us exactly what their Wonder Woman was going to look like in this movie. And now we get, I mean, this is, again, it's not official, but they're not immediately taking everything down. They're letting it stay out there for a little bit, and then they're requesting that it gets taken down. So this, to me, they're doing this so well. They're doing this so right. I have a feeling that next summer, probably it'll be before this time next summer, but I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say by August or July, we're going to have a trailer, probably just a teaser, but we will have our first trailer within a year. I know a lot of people says, within a year, are you I know, but think about this. This is a film that has been teased. Wolfgang Peterson, the guy who directed movies like Outbreak and Troy and Poseidon, he was working on, before he did Troy, he was working on a Batman v Superman. I think they had landed on Henry Cavill. Actually, was the lead contender for the Superman role. This was before Brendan Routh was cast as Superman. He was working on that movie. I can't exactly remember who they were going to get for Batman, but I'm pretty sure Henry Cavill was their top choice for Superman. He also was the second choice for Superman Returns. But they were going to be doing a Batman v Superman movie, and it was going to come out, I believe, in 2005. I think that was their ideal release date. And through unknown circumstances, the movie just fell apart. He went on to do Troy. And then we got that little tiny glimpse in I Am Legend for people who don't remember the Will Smith movie back in 2007. Because the movie was set in 2012 or 2015 or something like that. But in Times Square, there was a billboard, and it was just the Batman symbol with the Superman symbol, and it just said, you know, I think it was June 2010 is when it was going to be coming out. June 10th, 2010 was their original release date. But that was just in that movie. But it's a little tease and a little hint. So they've had this plan for a while. And everything that we're getting right now, I am very excited about because it's real. We're not getting concept art. I always hate it when we see concept art because it never looks anything like what we're going to get. I remember the first time we saw King Kong for Peter Jackson's King Kong, it was concept art. And he really didn't look anything like the final version because, again, it was an artistic drawing. It was not a photorealistic recreation of the creature. So I always hate it when they're doing that. And so far, we've only got production stills. Well, not even really production stills. We've only got a handful of those. But we've also got on-set pictures that the studio has not taken down. They have a lot of confidence in this property. I'm very excited to see what they're finally going to be bringing to the table. But that's not coming until March 26, 2016. So we still got a year and a half to wait. But if we get more information about this topic, I will definitely update you guys on here. The next topic I want to talk about here is about the upcoming remake of The Magnificent Seven. Now, for those of you who don't know what The Magnificent Seven is, it was an American Western that was done in 1960 that was a remake of Seven Samurai, which is one of the greatest films ever made. If anybody has not seen that movie, well, I mean, you've kind of seen versions throughout history because, I mean, we've had, the Battle of Helm's Deep was basically a retelling of Seven Samurai, just on a larger scale. Upcoming Fury, very similar. It's a small band of people that has to fight against a much, much larger band of people. 300 is another example. The original one had people such as Charles Bronson, Yul Brynner. Well, this upcoming version is going to be directed by Antoine Fuqua, who directed movies such as Training Day. He directed Shooter. He recently did Olympus Has Fallen. And now he has The Equalizer with Denzel Washington coming out. Now, there's already been a sequel announced to that movie. Now, whether or not Antoine Fuqua is going to return to direct the sequel is still up in the air. But he has now brought along his two-time collaborator and Academy Award-winning actor Denzel Washington to headline The Magnificent Seven. Now, a lot of people will say, wait a second, this is going to be set in the Old West. And I mean, knowing how at least America was back during the Old West, how is someone like Denzel Washington going to be leading a band of outlaws? Because he is African American. Well, I don't think they're really going to contend with that. I mean, you look at movies like Unforgiven with Morgan Freeman, and the type of role that he had in that movie, even though, yes, he was segregated in that movie, and the general attitude towards his character was not the greatest, but I do have a feeling that, I mean, with someone with the charisma and just overall badassness of Denzel Washington, I really don't think that's going to be a problem. And also, this project picked up steam about 2 years ago when Tom Cruise had signed on to play the lead character in the movie. And there was a rumor going around that they were going to surround him with Matt Damon, Kevin Costner, and Morgan Freeman. Those were three of the names that were being circled around to be part of the additional 7 people. It doesn't look like any of those people are going to be involved, and I don't even know if they were originally involved. It was just a rumor. But as it stands right now, this so far is being fast-tracked to be their next project. The current version of this movie is being written by Nick Pizzolatto. Nick Pizzolatto was the guy who created and wrote True Detective. So we know that it's going to have definite amazing writing on it. I mean, the level of character development and writing in that show was almost unparalleled. There's a reason why it won. Although I don't know if it won the Emmys. I can't remember if it won the Emmys for writing or anything like that, but I know that it was awarded a lot of other awards for that because that show was just a knockout. Not just because of Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey's performances, but just because overall that show, it was so well written. The characters were deep. They had horrible, tragic pasts. They had to contend with horrible tragedies. Yet, every aspect of that show was just unbelievable. I don't think I was ever really... I mean, it was a slow-moving show, yes, but I don't think I was ever actually bored watching it. He wrote the original version of the script. It was recently revised by John Lee Hancock. He's the guy who wrote and directed movies he directed The Alamo, and he directed The Blind Side. I don't know exactly if I'm pretty sure he wrote them too. But he's currently the one who has the sole writing credit or the partial writing credit on the movie. There's no telling as to whether or not it's going to receive another rewrite. But I'm very fascinated with this because, first off, the early word that we're hearing about The Equalizer, which is going to be coming out later on this month, is just next to stellar. I mean, they're saying that this is his best performance since Man on Fire, or even Training Day. I mean, they're saying that this could even be better than Training Day, or that this could be better than Man on Fire. And it's certainly a very similar role, but this movie was getting early word like 6-8 months ago when they announced a sequel. Like, they announced a sequel almost right after the first cut was done, and they said, "This movie, yep, we're doing another one for sure." I'd buy Denzel Washington in almost anything. I don't think there's ever been a movie that he's been in that I didn't like. At least did not like him in the movie. And I can't even think of one off the top of my head. So yeah, for sure, I'm definitely intrigued about this property. It is said, as far as I know, that it is going to be their next project. They're not going to move right ahead into Equalizer 2. It's all going to depend on what that movie does opening weekend. With the early word at a TIFF being amazing, if they can build up momentum before the movie comes out, because I haven't even really seen any TV ads for it. Haven't seen all that many trailers in theaters for it either. I mean, I've seen them online for sure when they come out, but any movie that I go to, I rarely, if ever, I don't even think I've seen an Equalizer trailer in theaters. Maybe once. But yeah, I just don't know if it's getting the marketing that it's going to need. I hope the studio puts a little bit more faith into it, especially after the early word at a TIFF, that they're going to be putting more marketing back into this, which will just further expand the cast and people that are going to be interested in working on Magnificent Seven if Antoine Fuqua just knocks it out of the park with this movie. People are going to be lining up to work with him, and he's going to be able to get a better cast. He's going to be able to get the people that he wants for this role. Or for these roles, I should say. So yeah, I'm definitely excited about this. This is the type of project that I do feel deserves a remake every few decades. You know, just bring out a new version of it, whether or not it's still a Western or if it's made contemporary. This is one of those stories that just can be retold and retold and retold. It's not a movie like Star Wars, where if they ever came out and they said they're remaking Star Wars Episode 4, I'm pretty sure you would have people, and I'm not exaggerating this, I am pretty sure there would be people who would be marching to Skywalker Ranch and trying to, or it wouldn't even really be Skywalker, it'd be now Disney head office, to try to burn it down. There would be a huge boycott about that. I think that's one of those movies out there that you cannot touch. You cannot remake it. You can continue on, which is what they're doing for sure. But yeah, the Magnificent Seven is definitely a movie that I can see definitely deserving of a remake. If they are going to be fast-tracking this, which I don't know if they are, if this is indeed Antoine Fuqua and Denzel Washington's next project together, then I can expect this movie to be a 2017 release. They're not going to do it in 2016. They're going to give themselves a little bit more time. Probably film it either at the end of 2015 or at the beginning of 2016. Have it come out in 2017. Almost sure that that's exactly what their plan is going to be if everything moves forward the way that they're thinking of right now. If any other hiccups come up or anything like that, I'm pretty sure they would delay it if need be. But yeah, if we get more information about this property, though, especially with someone like Fuqua and Pizzolatto being involved with this, and then Denzel Washington coming on, because it was just confirmed that he is now signed on to the role. Yeah, this has definitely piqued my interest. So if we get more information about this property, I will definitely update you guys on here. The last story for today is actually going to be dealing with a major rumor. One that a lot of people have been thinking about for a while. One that people have put a lot of stock into for a while. This one is basically about how the Guardians of the Galaxy will be appearing in Avengers 3. This rumor comes from a website called PW Mania. And it's a wrestling website, but they recently did basically a recap or not even necessarily a recap, just an update on Dave Bautista's upcoming schedule. Because the WWE wants him back. He is a little hesitant to return, but I think he does want to return to wrestling as well, especially pro wrestling. But this article basically talked about how they're having to restructure his deal with both the WWE and with Marvel after the success of Guardians of the Galaxy. And this deal apparently says that he's going to be getting more money because of the success of the movie, and that they're restructuring his schedule for WWE because he's going to be having Guardians of the Galaxy 2 shooting probably not next year, maybe the end of 2015 or early 2016. They're going to start filming that movie. But then he's also going to have a significant role in Avengers 3. Now, this makes a lot of sense because a lot of people have been assuming that for the most part, Marvel is going to close out the current version of their Marvel Cinematic Universe after Phase 3. Most likely, we're not going to be seeing Thor for a while after that, Captain America for a while, Iron Man for a while. They are going to be moving forward with a new team. That is the current rumor going around. The new team will most likely be comprised of Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, the Captain Marvel will probably be another one, and there's one that I'm forgetting, and I can't. I'm do apologize. I can't remember the other one that it could be. But yeah, as it stands right now, they're going to be a new team, which means it makes sense to have the Guardians show up in Avengers 3 to close out this universe. Guardians will continue on past Avengers 3. You can guarantee that. Maybe in different versions, but they will be continuing on Guardians of the Galaxy after that. You can bet your bottom dollar on that one. But having the Avengers and the Guardians team up to fight Thanos, because let's just put everything up front. We can go out and pretty much confirm that it's going to be about the Infinity Gauntlet. They've been building to the Infinity Gauntlet with the stones and with bringing in Thanos. So we know Infinity Gauntlet is going to be the storyline that they're taking. Whether or not Thanos actually gets the Infinity Gauntlet or he just gets a stone or two is a different story. We don't know that yet. Having him fight all of the Avengers on Earth, it's going to take all of them just to try to put a dent in Thanos. He is the most powerful being in the universe. The universe. Everything. All of the galaxies out there. He is the most powerful being out there. So having the Guardians come in to help makes sense. But also, it makes sense as to why Thanos is on Earth. Because it's going to be one of two things. One, either Peter Quill is going to come back to Earth for unknown reasons. The Guardians are going to come with him. Thanos is going to follow them. Or Thanos finally gets all of the Infinity Stones and decides to attack Earth once and for all to destroy these potential threats to his overall reign of the universe. With that, the Guardians could follow him because Drax now has an ultimatum. He has to kill Thanos because Thanos killed his family. I mean, Ronan was the one, but Thanos was the one who ordered him to. So Drax definitely will have a larger role to play when it comes to Thanos. Whether or not, this does not come from Marvel either. So take this with a grain of salt. This is not officially revealed from Marvel, and we're not going to get anything from them probably until after the movies are released because they're so secretive about their properties. But I mean, with this report stating that he's going to have such a significant role, I'm almost willing to actually put money down if I had any money to put down, but any money down on this being true. I mean, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to put money down. Is anybody else out there? Put a comment in the comment section if you feel that this is actually legitimate, because this also means that Avengers 3 is going to be massive. Vision. Sorry, I just remembered it. Vision will most likely be, unless he doesn't make it out of Avengers 2, Vision will be probably the other member of the new team of Avengers after Phase 3. I knew I'd remember it. I told you I would. But yeah, I mean, to me, it just makes sense. A lot of people were upset when they found out that Guardians would not be in Avengers 2. And to me, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Guardians, you have them set as this cosmic, universal police squad, essentially, of renegades. Why in their second adventure would you have them come back to Earth? No, you further explore this amazing universe that they live in and see these amazing worlds and creatures and different characters like Adam Warlock or Beta Ray Bill. You know, you can bring in these characters and these creatures into this universe and really expand upon it. You know, I mean, you could almost have your own little side Marvel Cinematic Universe just in space and have Thor join in, or have anybody from Asgard, have the Warriors 3 and Sif join in. There's lots of possibilities they could go, but I mean, as it stands right now, Marvel has their roadmap. They know exactly what they want to do. I'm pretty sure that we're going to be getting Infinity Gauntlet as the storyline for Avengers 3. I don't think anybody out there will disagree with that either. Some people are trying to say it's Civil War. No, we're not going to be getting Civil War until at least Avengers 4 or 5. And it won't even be a true Civil War because they don't own characters like the X-Men or Spider-Man. So, I mean, as it stands right now, yeah, for sure. I am willing to put money down that they're going to appear. But only time will tell. They may come out and, hell, Drax may die in Guardians 2. We don't know. This is 2 movies next. Like, I mean, we have The ones we know that are coming out, we have Avengers 2, then we have Ant-Man, then we have Cap 3, then most likely Doctor Strange. Then there's another movie in 2017 after Guardians that comes out. I've been speculating that that's either going to be Thor 3, because I'm not sure if 2017 has 3 release dates. I think it does. If it has 3 release dates, Thor 3 will be in there. Yes, because there's a May 2017 release. So Thor 3 will be there, Guardians 2, and then an unknown movie. Maybe even Black Panther. If they don't get a Black Panther movie moving along soon, there's something wrong. Because Black Panther is probably the most requested character for them to adapt. He's not that tricky to adapt. As long as you try to do it as a standalone movie with little hints and nuggets to the other films. But have this be completely standalone. Have it be like Guardians. Because Guardians worked. I mean, you had a few little things that connected it to the other movies, but for the most part, it was a standalone movie. You could do the same thing with Black Panther to introduce him to us. You don't need to do an origin story. Just introduce the character and his world and his mythology to the audience. And after that, you can have him join up on another team. I think that personally is the right way to go. But again, only time will tell. But if we get more information about this topic, I will definitely update you guys on here. Well, that'll do it for us here on Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have been a great audience. Go ahead and click the subscribe button there in the bottom corner. You can get updates whenever we post a new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at Niklsun, Niklsun, for all of your movie updates. And you can also like us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/movie news with Niklsun. If you guys have a comment or a question you'd like to ask on the show, please put a comment in the comment section, or you can email us here at movienewswithniklsun@gmail.com, and it will be answered on every Friday episode. Without any further ado, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.